Hello, everyone, and good day. I'm Laika Mea, your host for today's National Grassroots Program Webinar Season 1. Alam ko kung ano yung tanong na nasa isip nyo ngayon. Ano nga ba ang National Grassroots Program o NGP? Huwag kayong mag-alala kasi andito nga ako para i-explain to sa inyo. Ang NGP ay isa sa mga programa ng Philippine Esports Organization na naglalayong pasiglahin ang mga beginner o kaya naman ang amateur gamers para magkaroon sila ng platform kung saan pwede nilang ipakita at ma-experience ang pinakaunang hakbang sa kanilang esports journey. Kung gusto nila maging professional o kaya naman maging parte ng ating national team na ang Team Sibol. Hindi lang panay tournaments ang mga activities na nakahain sa NGP. May webinars din at on-site GG truck activations dahil naniniwala ang peso na importante din ang tamang kaalaman sa larangan ng esports. Hindi lang sa paglalaro, kundi ang mga bagay-bagay sa industriya. So I'm sure excited na kayo guys sa ating 4th webinar episode natin. Pero pasalamatan natin muna ang ating mga sponsors kasi syempre hindi naman mangyayari ang lahat ng ito kung hindi dahil sa kanila. So una sa lahat, maraming salamat sa Smart 5G. Experience the power of Smart 5G in over 4,900 sites nationwide. Switch now to experience the difference. Visit smart.com.ph/MNP to learn more. And of course, to the PESO organization. The National Grassroots Program is organized by PESO. Sa mga hindi nakakaalam, ang PESO o Philippine Esports Organization ay ang ating National Sports Association para sa esports dito sa Pilipinas. Layunin ng PESO na palakihin at pasiglahin ang esports industry dito sa ating bansa. Sila ay isang non-stock, non-profit organization at binubuo ng mga esports industry big players katulad ng Tier 1, Goliath Concepts, Mineski Global, TNC, Bren Esports at marami pang iba. Suportahan natin ang PESO sa kanilang mga adhikain. Para sa karagdagang impormasyon, maaari ninyong bisitahin ang www.esports.com.ph o kaya naman ang kanilang Facebook fan page na Philippine Esports Organization. So ayan guys, napasalamatan na natin yung sponsors natin, which means magpuproceed tayo sa 4th episode ng National Grassroots Program. At ang topic natin today, napaka-exciting dahil ito ay shoutcasting as a career. So, natutuwa ako sa topic na to kasi ako rin naman nag-work din ako sa esports bilang isang host at panel host. And ang dami ko ng beses na nakasama yung mga shoutcasters, whether it's in a studio or online setting. And nakakatuwa talaga kahit anong game mapadpad ako, tuwang-tuwa ako sa kanila kasi napaka-talented talaga ng mga shoutcasters natin dito sa esports. At syempre, yung special guest natin for today, hindi rin to stranger, special na special rin siya at napakagaling rin of course. Dahil isa siyang shoutcaster for different esports titles such as MLBB and Dota 2. Isa rin siya sa mga pioneers of analytics shoutcasting here in the Philippines. Nag-coach na rin siya ng esports team tulad ng Quid Pro Quo, Playbook Esports, and Onyx Philippines. So ladies and gentlemen, i-welcome natin dito ang esports shoutcaster and analyst, si Wolf!
Grabe.
Yun, no?
What an intro. Thank you so much, Laika. And
Parang
thank you.
kulang.
Parang may kulang din.
Pogi.
Ay, nako. Grabe. Sige, wag ka mag-alala. Bibigyan kita ng kape mamaya.
Kamusta ka na, Wolf?
Oh, doing great, doing great. You know, kakatapos lang ng maraming mga tournaments for MLBB. For now, medyo nasa break tayo. So, nakakapaglaro kahit papaano ng mga ng other games. But things are
Nice.
gonna be busier in the next month.
Pero buti nahagilap ka namin tapos nakasama ka dito sa show. Ang saya, saktong-sakto yung timing. Pero natutuwa talaga ako sa topic na to kasi syempre pioneer ka na dito. Ang tagal-tagal mo nang nagsha-shoutcast, Wolf. So, ang dami mo talagang insight na share sa amin. Nakakatuwa. So, guys, makinig na tayo kay Wolf dahil i-share niya yung journey, experience niya, mga insight, mga bagay na natutunan niya bilang isang shoutcaster throughout the years. And kung meron naman kayong mga questions, pwede niyong i-type dito sa comment section natin dahil mamaya meron tayong Q&A portion. Huwag lang masyadong personal, syempre. Stick lang tayo sa topic. Baka mamaya kung ano-anong itanong nyo kay Wolf, masyadong juicy, gano'n. Pero yon, Wolf, sa ngayon, ikaw na, I will leave the floor to you para mabigay mo na sa amin yung presentation mo.
Thank you so much, Laika. And thank you so much din sa mga viewers na nanonood ngayon na I asked kung sino ba yung mga potentially ang manonood today. And most of the answers will be the people who wants to explore din ang shoutcasting bilang isang career. And thankfully, you know, lagi na ako nagpapasalamat sa kung sino mang higher being or kung sa maraming tao because I would say I'm one of the luckiest people on earth kasi imagine nyo, naglalaro tayo for things that we love to do, which is we love to play games. And we're lending our voice bilang shoutcaster sa mundo ng esports while also like earning from it and sustaining yourself at nag-enjoy, which is perfect, right? Pero siyempre, before we start discussing shoutcasting bilang isang career, eh ano nga ba talaga isang shoutcast? A presentation for you guys, and this is perfect. Um, ang ano kasi sa mga viewers na napapanood na ako at yung mga kasama ko like si Laika, 'di ba? And sila Manjin, if you're familiar with Manjin with the Shinbu, you know already what shoutcasting is. So ano nga ba yung shoutcasting? For me, the most basic explanation is it's commentary sa esports, right? So konting story lang din. I remember when I was playing Dota 1, ta's natigil ako, ta's naglaro ako ng Dota 2. Pagbalik ko ng Dota 2, meron akong gap na parang 4 years or 5 years na hindi ako masyadong nag-focus sa competitive gaming. Nasa mga single player gaming pa lang, yung mga RPGs. That's what I play. And then when I went back sa Dota, napaglaro ako sa mga kasama yung mga classmates ko nun. It's interesting kasi merong isang tournament ang Dota na merong commentator. Commentator pa tawag ganun because me personally, mahilig ako sa sports. So I watch sports. I watch basketball. At ang tawag natin sa mga nagsasalita sa broadcast ay mga commentators. And ina-explain nila yung mga nangyayari. They put like play-by-play commentary dun sa nangyayari. Tapos merong hype, may sigaw, may energy, may stories. Tapos may analysis part, 'di ba? So this is what normally happens sa pag nanonood ka ng NBA or ng PBA. And personally, gusto ko nakikinig doon palagi kasi gusto ko na hype, gusto ko naiintindihan ko yung mga nangyayari. May analysis, may problem solving. Kunwari sa NBA, 'di ba? Parang pag natatalo na yung isang team, may analyst na papasok na, ito yung kailangan niyang gawin or ina-explain niya na etong player na to, dito siya nanggaling, ito yung strengths niya, at ito yung ginagawa ng kabilang team. So, there's a lot of things na related dun sa broadcast kapag sa sports. And then all of a sudden, when I was watching Dota or the International back then, bakit taka ko, wow, may commentary sa Dota sa isang esports na nilalaro ko, isang esports title. And doon ako na simula na ma-fascinate about dun sa this is shoutcasting. At na-research ko man eh, bakit kaya shoutcasters ang tawag sa mga nagsasalita, yung mga casters nagsasalita sa video games. Bakit hindi sila tinatawag na commentator? Well, apparently, it started as ano pala, nung unang panahon ng mga unang video games na shoutcast back then, dun sa may isang application or may isang program or isang software called parang Winamp yata kung hindi ako nagkaamali. Basta the story is, yung nakalagay doon na mode para mag-talk over ka over one thing is to shoutcast it. So parang doon ang galing yung shoutcaster. Kaya naman, nagkaroon ng at least ng distinction between sports commentary and esports commentary. But to me, at para na lang din madaling maintindihan ng lahat, shoutcasting is basically commentary para sa isang esports broadcast. And this is very true throughout all of the known esports titles out there. Kahit Mobile Legends yan, Dota, Valorant, League of Legends, or anything, they call themselves shoutcasters. At alam ng mga viewers na shoutcasters ang tawag doon. So, what is shoutcasting? To me, is basically esports commentary. And what do we do when we are shoutcasters, 'di ba? We open the show. Syempre, minsan may mga hosts to open the show, but typically nabibigay din sa shoutcaster opening a show. Yung shoutcasting, meron din sila parang anchors like traditional sports, 'di ba? Meron ding play-by-play katulad ng traditional sports. And shoutcasting also has color commentary. Yung sinasabi ko kanina na giving stories or giving like extra information for the viewers to understand. Basically, yung may sa mundo ng esports, merong iba't ibang klase ng shoutcasters like analysts, anchors, color commentary, sometimes hosts, 'di ba? Part siya ng buong broadcast, and they are paired up together para magmukhang maganda yung isang commentary, right? For me personally, dun sa malapit na intro ni Laika, was one of the first few analysts dito sa Pilipinas because nung kakasimula pa lang ng Dota shoutcasting back in early matagal-tagal na, 'di ba? And back in 2016, nung bandang 2016 puro hype yung binibigyan ng mga shoutcasters like yung the likes of Lon and Duno, 'di ba? Sila Manjin, 'di ba? Parang energy, comedy and entertainment yung binibigay. So yung analysis part nun hindi siya pa masyadong napapansin. So that's when I came in. And like I said, there are different kinds of shoutcasters at meron silang ginagampanan na role sa isang broadcast, which is also very true with sports commentary. And so apart from that, and the most important thing for me is that we tell stories. Be it sa ating play-by-play, be it sa ating color commentary, kahit sa analytic commentary, everything that we do sa shoutcasting is to tell stories. Stories of the game, stories of the players, stories of the teams, stories of the tournament, stories of the esports itself, diba? So many kinds of stories, and that's what we do as a shoutcaster. So if we go back to the slide, when we talk about shoutcasting, di ba? It's all about commentary sa mundo ng esports. And if you are interested to become one of the storytellers and commentators sa esports, ayan, shoutcasting is for you perfectly. Now, let's actually talk about yung comparison ng sports versus esports because it always has been the debate. Big shoutouts pala sa kasama ko sa picture na to and rest in power kay Kuya D or Aldrin Pangan, isa sa mga long-time friends natin and kasama natin sa esports. One of the legendary voices and personalities dito sa Pilipinas. And I will not be here if not for him. So big shoutouts kay Kuya D at maraming salamat. Um, Honestly, sports versus esports, ang daming beses na pinagkukumpara siya na parang dapat daw makonsider ang esports na part din ng sports. In fact, part na nga ang esports ng Southeast Asian Games, which is predominantly puro sports, di ba, ang kasama. And a lot of people are saying dapat nasa nakalinya ng sports ang esports. For me personally, ang pinaka-difference lang nila is that esports are played by video games. But technically speaking, I don't want na i-consider na same sila, right? It's great that we're part of the sports kasi kabilang siya. But I think that hindi natin kailangang ipilit ang isa't isa. Esports is esports and sports is sports. The thing with esports is unfortunately, nakadepende tayo sa mga decisions ng mga game developers on how the game happens. For example, sa mundo ng basketball, hindi naman sila katulad ng esports na may patch bigla. Parang ano yun, next year, next second half of the year, itataas natin yung ring ng certain centimeters. Or next patch ng NBA, mas malaki na yung bola ng konti. It's not like that, right? But for esports, it's very volatile. So parte ng buhay na sa esports is always to keep ourselves updated. And sometimes we're at the mercy of the game developers. But apart from that, yung competitiveness, yung discipline nandyan, building this broadcast, it's also there. Building the community, nandyan din yan. So there's so many similarities between sports and esports, and there's a lot of differences as well. So we might as well, wag na lang natin i-kumpara masyado itong dalawa to. If you love esports and sports, then good for you. Kung esports lang gusto mo, that's great. Kung sports lang gusto mo, that's great. We all have our own lives at meron tayong sariling mga kagustuhan. And that to me is my opinion about, comparing sports to esports. Both ay very entertaining at may sariling disiplina. So, end of the day, again, it doesn't matter as much, right? So, that is naset na natin kung ano nga ba yung shoutcasting, what is esports versus sports. Let's talk about yung how do you actually start as a shoutcaster, 'di ba? A lot of people right now here sa nanonood sa atin ngayon are very much interested kung paano nga ba sila makakapasok sa shoutcasting as a career. So, I actually have prepared a slide for you when I started as a shoutcaster, right? So may mga years na nalagay dyan. 2016, was the year na nasama ako sa isang broadcast. Kung titingnan niyo ang leftmost picture na 'to, it's very raw. And imagine niyo, naka-t-shirt lang si Manjin, naka naka-polo shirt ako na may hawak na kape. Si Butters ay naka-hoodie na may hawak na gitara. May headset silang dalawa, yung sa'kin nakapatong kung saan man, ayan o, nakapatong siya this day. So, very informal. And this was the start of my career. Noong 2016, siguro mga 4 or 5 years ng buhay ang shoutcasting pero hindi pa siya gano'n kaseryoso at wala pa masyadong mga broadcasts. Noong 2016, doon talaga nag-lay ng foundation ang mga broadcasts. Nagkaroon na ng mga programa, nagkaroon na ng sarili mga production houses and everything. And that's when I started. It's very raw, right? Naka-polo shirt lang tayo. No, jump in 2017, mayroong malaking jump sa career ko bilang isang shoutcaster. From the community casts of 2016 sa Dota, kung saan very informal kami, nasalang bigla tayo sa isang international event sa Kuala Lumpur. At kasama ko dyan, kung papansinin nyo ako, ano lang sa gitna, sa Pilipinas, medyo matangkad na ako kung i-consider pero nanliit tayo physically and figuratively nung kasama natin yung mga taga-ibang bansa para sa isang shoutcasting gig no para sa isang Dota 2 event na ginanap sa Kuala Lumpur. So for the first time ay naipadala ako sa ibang bansa para mag-cast ng Dota, which is great, 'di ba? Parang isang napakalaking jump mula sa humble beginnings noong 2016, 2017 nasabak agad tayo. Noong 2018 nagkaroon na ng mga kakaibang mga galawan na when it comes to esports. Apart from shoutcasting, bigla tayong napunta sa TV. So kung papansin niyo, hindi yata masyadong kita, but that is yung dun sa mic ay yung programa ng TV5. So parang napunta na tayo sa isang TV, sa national television na for shoutcasting as well as hosting at nagbabalita pa nga ako ng esports ng mga time na yan. So it's one of those moments, right, na nag-evolve na agad. Imagine this, 2016 to 2018, ang dami agad na abot from an international event to a national TV broadcast. That's how fast it went nung mga early days ng shoutcasting. And if you look at the next slide actually, you're gonna see the last 3 years naman. So, noong 2019, mas established na. We have a lot of programs already. Kung naalala niyo yung suot ni Manjin dati, naka-t-shirt na siya, ngayon naka-polo na siya, nakahubad lang yung coat na niya kasi nag-iinit na yung laban. And then that's me na casting for a franchise-based league called the Nationals. Imagine, may franchise-based league na ang mundo ng esports noong 2019. That's how fast it went. A year afterwards, though, this is where a lot of struggles began. At alam naman natin kung bakit. 2020 was the year of the pandemic. And we still stayed, which is very unfortunate sa lahat ng bagay. At dito kami natuto din ng mga work from home setups namin. And kung papansin niyo, naka-short lang ako niyan. Naka-shorts lang ako niyan while dun sa yung pangtaas ko kung saan yun lang yung kita ng camera. Naka-formal tayo dyan. And of course, yun yung mga nauso yung mga green screens and yung home setups. It was a very challenging time. Pero, nung mga panahon na yun, dito rin talaga umangat ang esports. I mean, I hope you guys don't get me wrong. Pero, nung 2020, naghirap talaga ang buong mundo nun. But, we had the chance to reconnect and invent a way para ma-entertain tayo internationally from the comfort of our homes during the time of the pandemic. So it was a very trying time, but at the same time, yung esports ay umangat dahil ng viewership because of the fact that we're all staying home at esports lang yung natirang source of entertainment because nung walang sports na nangyayari because of contact sports, nagkaroon na time na mag-shine ng esports. So bigla din umangat for that. And now in 2021, we went back to international casts once again. At yan na, naging part na ako ng Mobile Legends M3, no M2 World Championship, which was taken no sa Singapore. So it endured and it went back. Naghirap man nung 2020, nung 2021, and now, the year of our Lord 2022, mataas pa rin talaga ang demands for shoutcaster. So this is my story as a shoutcaster. Nagsimula ako nung ating humble beginnings so 2016 when I was with my friends sila Manjin, ayan, sila Butters. Um, when we all started, nagsimula lang tayo sa community broadcasts. Unti-unti natin nakuha yung mga gigs, yung mga opportunities to prove ourselves internationally, pati na rin dun sa national television and all kinds of media na pwede tayo. So when we started, syempre, yung mundo ng Dota and casting nun, we're just casting sa browser, sa, again, community cast, diba? So anything goes. May nagigitara bigla sa gilid. May nagbubukas ng kape sa gilid habang broadcast. We don't even care about sponsors back then kasi parang we just show anything that we show. Nagpapakita kami ng kung ano products habang may mga competing products because we don't have sponsors yet that time. And we jump dun sa mga hanggang sa dulo, unti-unti na nagkakaroon ng mga funding from sponsors and as that happens, kinailangan din namin mag-evolve bilang shoutcaster. We understand our responsibilities sa mga brands, our responsibilities bilang voice na lagi nakikita at napapanood. So we also had to fix our personalities. Kinailangan minake sure namin na we are adhering to the rules, that we're not stepping on other people, that we are culturally okay, we're politically okay. Masasabi ko na it wasn't very easy. We had to adjust so much, but here we are, right? So, actually, nung ginagawa ko tong slides na to, bigla ko na-realize, I've been here for what, 6 years? Oh, magsi 6 years na ako eh. Part of, as a shoutcaster. I've been in esports for 2 years before I became a shoutcaster bilang songwriter. But um, ever since then, as a shoutcaster, diba? It has been a long journey. Kung papanoorin niyo po yung mga pinakauna kong mga cast, you're gonna cringe for sure kasi sobrang layo na niya from what I am right now. Nag-develop kami ng mga techniques, ng mga skills for us to be better sa shoutcasting. In-improve namin yung way namin yung chemistry namin with each other. Umattend kami ng maraming mga workshops at nagpa-mentor kami sa napakaraming mga tao, hindi lang sa esports broadcasting but also with sports broadcasting. In fact, over the years, nagkaroon kami ng maraming mga workshops and trainings for that. So, um, and also over the years, we made sure na tinutulungan namin yung isa't isa para mag-improve. So, that was my shoutcasting career, di ba? I started with Dota, had to change, 'di ba? I had to change hindi naman change the game but parang kinailangan kong magsabay ng Dota at Mobile Legends at just to keep myself afloat. So, actually the next slide, this is one thing na kailangan nating pag-usapan because if you want to be a shoutcaster, you have to adapt to trends. So nung 2017, imagine this, napadala na kami internationally for Dota 2 event. But nung mga time na yon, hindi pa ganun kataas ang pay grade for shoutcasters enough for you to sustain yourself. So kasabay nun, kinailangan ko pang kumuha ng mga ibang trabaho, 'di ba? Na-mention ko na I was a writer. So that was 2016, 2017. Noong 2018, dumating na nga si Mobile Legends and yung parent company ko noon, which I was working with, organized the first MPL Season 1. So they needed shoutcasters for that. So, noong time na yun, sobrang into Dota 2 ako. Sobrang gusto ko, ay Dota lang gagawin ko. Because I liked it a lot and I think I'm good at it. Now, pagdating sa Mobile Legends, kinailangan naming aralin yung game na yon. So imagine this scenario. The wall I have right now, no, sa opisina namin nun sa aking first company for shoutcasting, naglagay kami ng mga nagprint out ako ng mga skills ng mga heroes ng Mobile Legends, right? And yung mga items, pinrint out namin so that marami nagpo-board exam, right? So I did that because mahina kasi yung memory ko, hindi ako magaling sa mga memorization, and 1 month lang yung, nalaan na oras namin to prepare for the MPL. So, we had to study that every day. I go to the office, nakikita ko sa likod ko yung mga skill names at tinitingnan ko ano pa yung puwede kong malaman about the hero. Hindi lang skill names, eh, pati mga damage, mga kung ano pa mga mechanics and sa items, all the details. So we have that, and just to make sure na ready kami for the MPL season 1, right? So all that happened while I was also playing Dota 2 and casting for Dota 2. At naisip mapapaisip kayo parang ayoko ng email kasi mas sobrang dali niyan. Siyempre Dota yung gusto ko, right? But we had to adapt, and kinailangan din kasi parang we were sort of required din to do that. And sobrang thankful ako kasi I grabbed that opportunity na sobrang thankful ko na hindi ako nag-inarte nung time na yon, and I dove right in. I made the effort and I adapted, right? So that's one thing about shoutcasting. You have to adapt to trends. Now, meron din time na nung sa akin naman as a shoutcaster, 'di ba, analytic talaga, analysis talaga yung gusto kong gawin no, from the start, from the get-go. But I understood na hindi pwedeng yung analysis lang ang iibigay ko sa mga viewers. I need to be entertaining as well at understandable. So over the years, nag-develop ako ng mga techniques at styles para lang yung analysis ko ay ma-convey ko sa viewers in an entertaining way. So it took a lot of revisions, it took a lot of like feedback from other people, it took a lot of trial and error to have what I have right now bilang isang shoutcaster when it comes to techniques. So again, adapting. Parang bagong game, sige mag-adapt tayo. Tingnan natin kung kailangan nating mag-aral ng game na yun. Or um, meron bang mga gusto yung viewers? Ayaw ba? Madami ka bang bashers online? Marami bang ayaw ng style mo? Intindihin mo kung bakit nila ayaw yon, and then adapt. Adapt to what they wanted, right? Now, there will come a point where you don't like the game at all. At hindi mo gustong na hindi mo gustong lumipat dun sa game na yun. And that's alright. What you need to do now is to understand kung saan ba effective yung game na yun, kung saan ba siya sikat. For example, there are people here na um, hindi gusto ang Mobile Legends, gusto nila yung other games. What they do is to try mag-try na abroad sila mag-shoutcast, and they were very effective with that. I see a lot of shoutcasters here sa Philippines na had to move to other kung hindi nila gustong pumunta dun sa ibang games para lang maging sustainable, and they wanna keep their favorite game or their game of preference, pumunta sila sa ibang bansa to get for opportunities, and they were very successful with it. So that also is a way to adapt. And as shoutcasters, kung gusto mong magkaroon ng career bilang isang shoutcaster, have to adapt to that. Right. So now, heading towards the last few parts of my presentation is the question, viable nga ba ang career na to, ang shoutcasting as this career? Uh, I would definitely say yes. Okay. So, I personally, sobrang laki ng struggle. I remember yung first few, yung first few days ng shoutcasting, or the first few years or months, diba? Parang, kinailangan ko magtrabaho ng isang day job, isang sideline, tapos shoutcasting. And fortunately, nakanap ako ng online job nun eh. So at least yun, nagagawa ko siya online. Naalala ko na yung mga times na yun, uso pa. Hanggang ngayon naman yata yung mga tipong, I wouldn't name the sites, but you know what I'm talking about, di ba? Parang pumunta ako dun sa sites na yun, madami siyang klase ng online job na pwedeng kunin, tapos may mga rates lang. And yun yung tinatambayan ko nun so that at least I can still sustain the shoutcasting job. So it involves a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of times na talaga magtitipid ka just to keep yourself afloat. But that was 2016, 2017. Today, ang standard ng shoutcasting ay enough naman yung pambayad ngayon ng mga tournament organizers for you to make that career viable. But I do say right now na hindi hindi siya ganun kadali. It will never be easy. The thing is, there's a lot of aspiring shoutcasters as well. Back then, ang swerte ko na lang din siguro is the fact na hindi din lahat ay gustong mag-shoutcaster ng mga time na yun, 'di ba? So, siguro that's also the reason kung bakit eventually nakahanap tayo ng mga opportunities because there's not a lot of supply. There's a lot of demand, but there's not a lot of supply. Right now, nag-aagawan na talaga mga tao, mga aspiring shoutcasters to be part of a big project. But that doesn't mean na hindi na siya viable option. I've seen a lot dito 2021 until 2022. Nag-start sila ng 2021 as nag-audition pa lang sila. And then now 2022, look where they are. Big example dito is yung mga nasa MPL na naging part ng caster search which is sila Santi, sila Naisu, sila OSX. Now, mainstay na sila sa MPL broadcasts. Pero last year, 2021, saktong-sakto, exactly last year, nag-pop kasi sa memories ko eh, na may mga naging part ng caster search, right, for MPL. And now, after 1 year, here they are, full-time na nag-commit as the shoutcasters here sa Philippines. And honestly, for Mobile Legends aspirants, mga gustong-gusto ng Mobile Legends talaga, from what I heard right now is that sa sobrang dami ng mga outside of the MPL broadcasts, kahit nga down to the barangay level, 'di ba? Na kahit yung sa mga barangay may mga nagpapa-tournament diyan na naghahanap ng shoutcasters in all parts of the Philippines. There's a lot of opportunities already. May nagsabi pa nga sa akin na ano siya eh, parang ang gusto niya talaga amateur tournaments talaga yung gusto niya kasi gusto niya yung stories doon at gusto niya yung action. Um, he's even getting more money from compared sa isang MPL shoutcaster just because of how frequent yung mga opportunities na yun, di ba? So, is it viable as a career? That's always the question. Para sa mga Mobile Legends casters, I can confidently say yes. I honestly don't know dun sa ibang mga fields like what sa Dota ba, kamusta na ba yun sa Valorant. To be completely honest with you, I don't know kung ganun na siya. But for what I'm trying to say here is that yung famous na mga esports titles, yes, it is very sustainable. For the others, medyo questionable. So what you can do is to look for opportunities, look for outside opportunities. I can confidently say as well, if you're doing well, kung ginagalingan mo talaga, if you make yourself visible sa sa mundo ng esports bilang isang shoutcaster, lalong-lalo na kapag internationally, that's when the viability of shoutcasting as a career really starts. Kapag nasimulan mo na internationally ay nagkaroon ka na ng opportunities, doon na talaga masasabi mo na kayang-kaya mo nang i-sustain ang sarili mo bilang isang shoutcaster. I've heard na yung ibang international tournaments kapag constantly ka na doon, like for Dota and for League of Legends for example, uh, yung rates mo talaga sobrang taas. You can earn like thousands of US dollars in a month or in a project pala just because of the being there. But of course, it's not easy. And like I said, grabe yung competition na kapag internationally na. But here, locally, I would say, kaya mo na din talaga, right? If you're part of like like Mobile Legends or other famous ones like Dota or Valorant, it's very much viable. And lastly siguro, when you're a shoutcaster, hindi lang naman din kasi talaga sa shoutcasting ka hahanap ng way to get your income or at least to sustain yourself. When you're a shoutcaster, automatically nagiging figure ka na rin, naging public figure ka na rin, and there's a lot of other things that you can do like hosting appearing sa mga shows, or actually making content like going live sa streaming, or making your content sa YouTube so that you can also earn money out of sponsorships. So shoutcasting itself as a career is viable, but it's totally different yung ano ba yung iba mo pang nakukuha after shoutcasting. And I can confidently say na maraming mga shoutcasters nakakuha and mas nasusustain nila yung sarili nilang buhay because of those other stuff like making content, connecting with brands, appearing sa mga other shows, and also like doing live stream. So that's the benefit nga lang of being a shoutcaster, because you're always exposed sa mga sa mga tao na related na invested sa esports. That's because they see you in broadcast, and that might be the way for you to actually make yourself sustainable sa mundo ng shoutcasting, right? So I hope you learned something from what I just said. I hope you're inspired, lalo na sa mga aspiring na shoutcasters. I hope that this is something that also shed some light to you guys, at sana ay natuwa kayo dun sa sana may natutunan kayo, sana inspire kayo with this talk, and I hope I imparted something. I'm pretty sure that you have a lot of questions and we're gonna be entertaining them later. So yeah, that's it for my presentation. Hello, Laika.
Hello. Thank you so much, Wolf. Ang ganda-ganda ng presentation mo. Una sa
Thank
lahat,
you.
parang hindi ka tumatanda.
Wow!
Parang
Sige, dalawa
tumubo
na
lang
yung
yung
kape.
bigote saka yung balbas pero hindi ka tumatanda. I mean,
Oh,
pinakita mo
thank
yung
you.
pictures 2016 to the current, 'di ba? Parang yung facial hair lang talaga yung nagbago. Pero other than that, ang ganda talaga nung sinabi mo, nagkaroon ka ng comparison between esports media and
Mhm.
traditional media,
Right.
esports versus sports. Na-touch up mo na rin syempre yung evolution and adaptability na ginawa natin, especially throughout the pandemic. Tapos, parang yun nga nakakatuwa, no? Pag nag-reflect ka na, uy, 6 years na
Yeah.
pala ako dito. Ang dami na palang nangyari. And
Diba?
yun nga, yung dulo mong point, ang ganda, sabi mo, mas viable na siya ngayon compared to where you
Yeah.
started. When you started, rather. Pero gusto ko siguro i-point out na you are a pioneer along with the other people who have been in this industry for years.
Mhm.
Kayo yung mga taong naging responsible for making this career, making
Oh,
esports viable in the first place. So for that, thank you guys. Kasi hindi talaga tayo aabot sa gantong point. Hindi tayo magkakaroon ng ganito kalaking mga leagues kung hindi rin kayo nag-invest and nag-risk nung... Syempre at the time, parang yun nga, di ba sabi mo, hindi ka pa naman sure na, uy, ito na yung career ko for life. Hindi naman eh. Kasi hindi ka pa sure nun, hindi pa ganun kalaki yung bayad. Pero nag-risk
yeah.
kayo. I guess may halong
Mhm.
passion and parang
Yeah.
maraming factors eh. Syempre nung time na yun, feel na feel nyo, I live for esports, gano'n. At the same time, tumulong talaga kayo sa pag-grow
Yeah.
dito sa industry. So, thank you so much for that. Now,
Oo.
para naman sa mga viewers natin, kung may comments kayo or may katanungan, again, i-type nyo na dito sa comment section natin para matanong natin later on. We're off to a quick break to give our speakers some time to rest before we head on over to our Q&A. NGP will be right back. Hello! We are back para sa ating NGP Webinar Series Season 1, Episode 4, Shoutcasting as a Career. Andito na ulit tayo sa ating paboritong part, which is the Q&A session. And of course, kasama natin si Wolf. Sino po bang tatanungin ko syempre kung di ang the best of the best shoutcaster?
Wow!
Alright. Oh, syempre, Wolf, ikaw pa ba? Simulan na natin yung questions. Medyo dinivide ko siya na parang past, present, future. Meron din tayong mga questions later on galing sa audience natin. So,
Okay.
unang question, feeling ko hindi pa natin ito na-touch up kanina eh. Ano bang ginagawa mo bago ka pumasok sa esports?
Well, at that point nag-aaral pa lang, and I also mahilig kasi ako, nagsusulat kasi talaga ako sa ever since nung elementary ako, so part of the school publication, and one of my strengths was to write. So, yung kanina na-mention ko, 'di ba, naghahanap ako ng mga websites. 'Di ba may usong websites no na parang mag-a-apply ka tapos bibigyan ka nila ng online work, be it sa programming, be it sa teaching, be it sa writing. So, pagsulat din. So, kumuha ako ng mga ganong klaseng mga racket, kumbaga. And yeah, to answer your question, before I entered esports, I was a writer for different kinds of stuff. May writing for fiction, writing for websites, pagiging ghostwriter, mga SEO, mga ganun. So, more on the writing side of things.
Pero ang galing nun kasi writing compared to public speaking, they're two different things. So, paano ka nag-transition from, magsusulat lang ako, this is what I wanna
Yeah.
do, to being a public speaker like you are now?
Yeah. Ewan ko kasi siguro dahil dun sa debate. Kasali kasi ako dun sa debate team ng no school ko, which is Mapua nung time na yun. Before I started into esports. Pero masasabi ko hindi ako ganun ka-confident sa public speaking. Kunwari yung hosting or at least yung speaking in front of a crowd, hindi ako ganun ka-komportable doon. Sa debate kasi parang may mga judges lang tapos wala naman talagang nanonood nun. So medyo kaya pa.
Grabe ka naman sa debate mo.
Kasi ang nanonood lang talaga nun yung mga judges, tapos yung ibang parts, parang hindi siya crowd parang ganun So parang kaya pa, doable pa siya. Tapos syempre pag nasa klase, mahilig kayong yung mga speak, yung mga nakalimutan ko yung tawag na public, basta yung nag-speech ka lang in front of your classmates, yun, kaya pa yun But being a public figure, it was not easy, to be honest. Yung unang time na nag-shoutcast ako tapos may live audience, grabe, sobrang nanginginig talaga ako.
Pero gets kita diyan. Nung una akong nag-host din, ganyan na ganyan yung experience ko.
Right?
Nanginginig-nginig pa ako kasi may
Mm.
microphone na binigay sa'kin, nanginginig ako.
Oo,
Gano'n pala talaga.
visible, eh.
Akala mo, uy, ang galing ko naman 'pag nasa school ako. Pero yun nga, tama ka diyan. 'Pag nasa
Mm,
harap ka na ng crowd, ibang-iba yung experience. Pero
right.
siyempre, it's something na as you get used to it, 'di ba, mas masasanay ka, mas may composure ka na 'pag kung humaharap ka sa audience na gano'n kalaki. I mean, grabe na
Right.
yung audience mo ngayon, Wolf. Kung hindi man thousands, millions na talaga. Ang dami nang nanonood sa'yo, nakikinig sa'yo at that.
Yeah.
So, kanina na-mention mo 'to.
Yeah.
Again, 6 years ka na sa industry. Ang tagal mo nang nagka-cast.
Mhm.
So, napanood mo na nga ba yung mga lumang casts mo?
I
And
did, I did.
kamusta?
Cringe, 3 seconds, next.
Ayaw mo na pakinggan.
Ayaw
Tama na,
na,
I've heard
grabe.
enough. Yun na
I
yun.
heard enough, yeah.
Pero
Pero
sa tingin mo, paano ka nakapag-improve from being, sabi mo cringe,
yep.
quote unquote, to how you are now? Siguro naman ngayon, di ka na nag-cringe pag pinapakinggan mo yung sarili mo.
Well, that's the thing, right? Parang hindi ako yung tipo ng shoutcaster na hindi ako sanay na tao na ayoko narinig yung sarili ko na parang gano'n. But eventually, kinailangan kong i-overcome yun kasi kailangan siya eh. The reason for you the way for you to improve is to always look dun sa ginagawa mo. So, paano ba nag-improve? Napaka-importante question, Laika, kasi I feel na it starts from you and also it starts by choosing kung sino yung people na kasama mo palagi dun sa journey na yon. Okay, so lucky enough na nasama ako kina Manjin, kina Butters, and kina Shinbu dun sa group of friends ko ngayon. Bukod sa naging co-casters ko sila, naging tropa ko na rin din sila. Kasi we always look for each other, look at each other, and parang tinutulungan namin yung isa't isa sa pag-improve. So nagbibigay kami ng comments. So yung sa casters, meron din akong core group of people na organizer sila at sobrang addict sila sa esports, so lagi silang nanonood and parte din sila nung production or at least yung company na nagtatrabaho bilang shoutcaster at lagi silang concerned dun sa mga pwedeng mangyari sa broadcast. Nagbibigay sila suggestions, dahil nanonood din naman sila kasi ino-organize sila yung tournament. So, alam nila yung nangyayari. Hindi lang yan. Meron tayong mga mentors lagi na nagbibigay ng mga comments sa atin at life advice din bukod sa shoutcasting, pati paano ka ba ikikip mo yung career mo, ganun, paano ka nila binibigyan ng mga ganong, paano mo bibigyan yung sarili mo ng mga ganong klaseng improvement. So, honestly, bilang isang shoutcaster, kailangan accepted mo na hindi mo kayang ma-impress lahat, but at the same time, kailangan mong isipin kung paano mo at least paano ka mapapakinggan ng ibang tao. So, you always have to look for that ng sweet spot kung saan nag-improve ka at the same time nakikip mo yung sarili mong identity na hindi ka bago ng identity mo just for the benefit of other people. For example, like for me, boring ako nung una considered na yun yung usual comment sa akin, ano ba yan, dami sinasabi, masyadong boring, ang bagal magsalita, ang hina, ganyan. Kasi analytic. So, hindi naman pwede na forever na lang akong ganun. Kailangan, at least, pinipili ko na yung mga words na sasabihin ko, mas naintindihan na. At the same time, hindi naman ako pwedeng maging katulad din ng iba na parang comedic din yung pagkakast or hypecast din. Kailangan ko i-keep yung pagiging analysis ko. So, may sweet spot eh. So, in order for you to improve, listen to others, surround yourself with people who will urge you to improve as well. Tingin ko, napakalaking factor nun. Hindi mo kaya mag-isa kung improvement ang usapan.
Ganda. So, may factor, siguro kung ikaw yung isang player, di ba, ang ginagawa mo, nagvo-VOD review ka, papanoorin mo yung gameplay mo, doon ka nag-i-improve. So, sa'yo, pinapanood mo rin yung mga cast mo, nag-get over ka doon sa fact na ayaw mong pinapakinggan yung sarili mo. And on top of that, yun nga, may mga taong nakapalibot sa'yo na parang, syempre, hindi naman one way na sila lang nagbibigay ng feedback sa'yo, di ba? Parang, kayo amongst yourselves, bilang talents of the same field, tulungan din kayo. And actually, I guess ito yung hindi nakikita nung iba na nasa labas pa nung industry or nasa labas pa nung talent rotation na meron kayo sa
Mhm.
MPL, na ganun actually yung level of tulungan din nila sa loob. Akala nyo parang pagkatapos ng shoutcast nila, okay, disperse na. See you next cast.
Yep.
Hindi, may postmortem tayo na tinatawag, meron tayong
Yes,
huddle, di ba? Dinidiscuss din talaga ng mga talents. And I think that this is very important na not only to have these things, but as a talent yourself, to have an open mind, to be open to criticism. Kasi
that's
the
right.
more na parang iniisip mo na, ay, wala namang alam yung audience, hindi nila alam yung sinasabi nila, ako yung professional dito. Parang, yun din yung mag-hold back
Tama.
sa'yo from growing. So, tama naman yung sinabi ni Wolf. Ang ganda ng sinabi niya. So, at the same time, di ba, yun yung sabi mo, matagal na kayo together, and hanggang ngayon, magkakasama pa rin kayo ng friend group mo. Ito yung something na na-notice ko. Back then, ang dami kong nakikitang solo casting. Pero ngayon, wala na. So, ano ba
Mhm.
masasabi mo? No more solo casting. Duos na pa talaga lagi. And usually kasi may tandem, di ba, na nagaganap.
Yeah,
Gano'n na ba
yeah.
talaga ngayon?
Yeah, I think kasi nag-evolve din talaga yung shoutcasting. Dati kasi the only reason kung ba't may mga the few reasons pala, sorry, kung ba't may solo casting is number one, lack of shoutcasters. Number two, cost cutting. 'Di ba ng mga
Mm.
organizers. And that's very true back then na parang napapasolo cast ka because unfortunately hindi na afford ng organizer na magkaroon ng iba pa na kasama, right? So I think it was a massive movement. Nakita ko to in person dun sa nung nagkaroon ng The Nationals kung saan tinry ng The Nationals, ay hindi pala tinry, but ang gustong mangyari ng Nationals is to improve yung broadcasting and shoutcasting experience na at least ay ka-level siya nung sports commentary. So nag-undergo ng maraming mga trainings at nagbigay ng insights din yung sports commentary, and part nun is being a duo or a trio casting setup na may mga specific roles na din. So, hindi lang siya about dun sa having like two people. Merong mga roles na rin na ginagampanan yung dalawang yun. Dati kasi pag nag-duo cast kayo, parang bara-bara in a way na parang parehas kayo ng ginagawa or at least yung tinatrain yung i-achieve. But when that started, nagkaroon talaga ng movement when it comes to shoutcasting kung saan nag-decide na, oy, meron tayong play-by-play, meron tayong analyst sa isang broadcast. Merong color, merong anchor. So something like that. So it evolved in a way na meron na mga roles yung mismong shoutcasters. That's why the broadcasts will now sound better at nagkakaroon din ng specialties yung mga shoutcasters, right?
Mhm.
Ngayon, may mga shoutcasters na sisikat kasi malupit sila mag-analyze, or may mga shoutcasters na sikat dahil sa kanilang play-by-play skills. So that's generally what happened now, and I think it's for the better din talaga ng esports commentary.
I think it's the perfect balance. Sabi mo kayo na laging
Yeah,
hinahanap yung sweet spot when it comes to casting.
right,
So
right.
having that play-by-play and analysis, yun nga, nagkakaroon ng balance eh. Kasi especially pag hype moment, syempre yung play-by-play,
Mhm.
maririnig mo talaga, grabe. Pero pag
Yeah.
andyan yung analysis, parang mababalance out. Ikukwento sa'yo, ito yung actually nangyari dyan. Ang
Mhm.
ganda ng chemistry na nabubuo doon. So,
Right.
ayan. So, connecting dun sa question na yun, yun na yung parang, hindi naman stereotype, yun na yung parang norm ngayon when it comes to shoutcasting.
Yeah.
And so, gusto ko naman malaman, ano ba yung mga stereotypes or common misconception ng mga tao when it comes to shoutcasters or esports talents in general?
Ay, nako.
Ay,
Ito, yung
grabe yung pag-isip na ang lalim.
Nick, alam mo yung usual na comments like that. And I'm pretty sure you know this. Shoutcasters, iniisip nila na dahil sila yung nakikita ng mga viewers, iniisip ng mga viewers na tayo yung in charge sa production. Tayo yung in charge
Simulan
sa
nyo na yung laro!
simulan nyo na yung laro. Bakit wala pa tong team na to? Ganyan. So it's one of the biggest stereotypes, right? That we are actually organizing the event. Unfortunately, guys, sobrang hina ng powers ng shoutcaster. Bukod sa pagsasalita, wala nang nagagawa ang mga shoutcaster about the broadcast. Siguro, yung may mga pakulot sa mga programa, pwede pa maka-apekto yung mga shoutcaster. Pero yung itsura ng broadcast, yung quality ng mics, well, nung mga ganitong online setup siguro pwede na maka-affect. But generally speaking, yung itsura ng broadcast, yung kailan magsa-start yung games, unfortunately, hindi namin hawak yan, right? Other other stereotypes siguro na hindi related dun sa broadcast apart from that. Kasi yun yung biggest stereotype talaga na
Oo.
gusto nating debunk. Siguro yung idea na parang kailangan maging sobrang lakas mo na player, ganyan, 'di ba? Parang ganun pag shoutcaster na parang sobrang galing mo agad. Hindi kasi automatic. I mean, honestly, when you become a shoutcaster, yung playing time mo sobrang magde-decline yan.
Yes.
So hindi ka talaga I think that once you're a committed shoutcaster, sobrang bababa talaga yung playing time, which also equates to the fact na hindi ka na ganun ka-expert. Ganun talaga. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
So yun siguro yung mga stereotypes na for shoutcaster.
And siguro to expound on that one, kasi yung playing
Yeah.
time mo, i-convert mo na siya into studying time.
Exactly.
'Di ba?
Exactly.
Hindi na yung sarili mong mechanical skills yung ipa-practice mo. Kasi ang
Exactly.
gagawin mo is papanoorin mo yung mga previous games, aaralin mo yung mga players, yung builds nila.
Yeah.
So, I don't think people can actually grasp how hard it is to study these games kasi ang dami laging factors. Pag pinapanood mo nga, 'di ba? Parang, okay, ito yung nangyari, naglaro sila. Pero, sorry, tinutulak ng aso ko. My dog wants to say hello to Wolf. Wolf ka rin? Hindi ka naman wolf. Huwag kang feeling. Gusto niya maglaro.
Anong name niya?
Kiwi. Sorry. Ayan. Anyway, chill na siya. Yun nga, yung panahon na pinispend mo sa pag-aaral, ibang level din yun. So, syempre, wala ka ng oras para mag-rank up. Medyo casual player na lang. Lalaroin mo pa rin. Kasi, syempre, mahal mo rin naman yung laro na kinakas mo. Pero, hindi ka na kasing dedicated to rank up and such. So, kung nanonood ko ngayon and narinig niyo yung explanation ni Wolf, huwag nyo na pong i-expect na highest rank yung mga casters natin.
Yes.
Yun na lang po.
Right.
Right. So, ayun naman. So, when it comes to games, Wolf, paano mo ba, ikaw, nanggaling kang Dota, then you went to ML, but I'm sure na hindi lang ito yung mga games na kinast mo.
Right.
Paano mo ba nahanap, or paano ka nakapag-decide na, you know what, I'm sticking to Mobile Legends now? And ano yung mga games na tinry mo before getting to this, or before accepting this path?
Yeah. Dami ko na na-try na. Actually, napag-cast ako ng Counter-Strike, yung Valorant, Call of Duty, PUBG, and there was a time na Rules of Survival. There's a lot of, dami na talaga na ako ni Paladins, kung naalala pa yun, nag-cast din ako na dami na talaga. So because the only way for me to do that is to look for like the how do I say this? Yung parang mga similarities between these. And honestly, like I think the reason kung bakit lagi inisip yun, and I'm also very vocal about this nung kay Manjin din, isa sa mga pinag-usapan namin na hindi ka kukunin ng isang tournament organizer kung wala silang tiwala sa'yo, or kung hindi dahil gusto nilang kunin yung style mo. And it's not like pinupwersa naman namin yung sarili namin na mag-cast for these games. The organizers saw something in us. And hindi, I always tell myself na masaya maging eksperto sa isang video game for to cast it, for sure. Pero kapag naging kung ano yung identity mo lang and you stick to your identity, it will work eventually. So that's what happened with myself nung part ako ng ibang mga video games na yun. Syempre, inaral ko pa rin yung esports titles. Pero hindi ko masasabing eksperto ako dun sa mga esports titles na yun. Pero nagawa ko kung ano ba yung ginagawa ko dun sa mga or mga titles na yun. So, I was an analyst with Dota at I was a storyteller din. Yun din yung gusto ko storytelling and analysis yung pinakagusto ko sa Dota na nagagawa ko. So, when I played and casted for the other games, that's what I did. I tried to be more analytical and I tried to tell more stories. Now, bakit ko nag-decide na ito na Mobile Legends? This is it. Honestly, ang pinaka nag-invite sa akin para mag-invest na maraming bagay sa Mobile Legends is yung nung MPL Season 1, I saw na sobrang invested ng mga fans to the point na may storyline yung players, may storyline yung teams, may storyline yung fan bases. And ang daming content na nangyayari. It always has been so fun na mag-incorporate ng mga story ng mga players sa isang broadcast. Kahit yung story ng franchises at ng organizations, meron talaga may mga rivalries, may mga trash talk outside. Ang busog na busog ka sa content at the community ay sobrang invested doon. So doon ako na entice na mag-work talaga sa Mobile Legends after nung MPL Season 1. And another thing that also developed after MPL Season 1 is when I started making content and actually applying yung analysis ko in-game, invested din yung mga tao. Kumbaga, kino-consume nila. Unlike no when I was with Dota, I'm not entirely sure, pero syempre meron din naman mga taong ganun, but they're not consuming analysis as much as people in Mobile Legends. That's where I decided na okay, ito na yata ako nun. Ito na yata yung para sa akin. And then I tried to study the game deeper at ang pinaka talagang deal breaker na talaga sa akin na sabi, ay ito na talaga yon finally is when a team actually invited me to be an analyst for their team. And I asked them, teka, bakit ako? Wala pa naman akong experience for Mobile Legends playing at epic lang yung rank ko noon. Bakit ganun? Because they understood that what I say sa broadcast ay nag-make sense sa analysis at nakikita talaga nila yon. They started trusting me, and from then on, doon na ako talaga nag-all in when it comes to like Mobile Legends.
Galing! Siyempre, ako aliw naman ako. Naalala ko pa nga I think it was yung parang weatherman na scenario mo. Isa yun sa mga napanood ko nun. Kasi naglalaro lang rin ako ng ML dati. Pero syempre, yung analysis, pag pinakinggan mo, parang, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, bago pa lang ako, tapos pinapanood ko yung mga videos mo. Tuwang-tuwa rin talaga ako. Kasi, yun nga, like, if you're a normal person like me na hindi naman kasing analytical yung brain, I know that when it comes to what you guys do, when you are into analysis, iba na yung way kung paano nyo panoorin yung game compared sa kung paano namin panoorin yung game. So, pag nakikinig ako sa mga nag-a-analyze, ang galing, nakakatuwa talaga.
Thank you.
Eto, so meron naman tayong mga questions galing sa viewers natin. This one comes from Rafi Lanes. Sabi niya, sabi niya, seeing how shoutcasting in esports has evolved in the country, what have been the best changes? And what are some of the things that you wish stayed the same?
Wow. Very good question. Not entirely sure kung ano yung okay, so ito kasi yan, ang pinakamalaking change sa amin as shoutcasters is hindi na kami nagfo-focus dun sa community cast anymore. And yung community cast kasi anything goes eh. Diba katulad ng pinakita kong picture kanina, may nag-gitara sa gilid, kung ano na yung mga banat namin ng mga jokes. Syempre, naging respectful pa rin kami. May mga at very informal at enjoyable talaga yung alam mo yan, parang sobrang tropa mo nung dun sa mga shoutcasters. And also, yung evolution ng shoutcasting, nagkaroon nga talaga ng mga set na roles na analyst, play-by-play, whatsoever. And nagkaroon ng evolution ng shoutcasting na keep yun. At kung papansinin nyo, parang ganun na yung sinusundan na formula ng mga tournament organizers, pati na rin ng mga shoutcasters na nagkaroon sila ng play-by-play at analyst. And that's part of the community broadcast. However, yun yung evolution namin ng MPL casters. At medyo nami-miss ko yun eh. Parang if there's something that I wish stayed the same, sana ay mas kaya pa namin ng mga bara-bara shoutcasting sa mga big tournaments, ng mga ganun, informal basically na shoutcasting at hindi masyadong systematic na shoutcasting. Ngayon kasi we have to adhere to the rules. I mean, we try to be very entertaining. Kumari may mga biased broadcast pa rin. Pero hindi na siya katulad na dati na parang anything goes talaga. You can say be very entertaining. Yun nga lang hindi ko masabing wini-wish ko siya na mag-stay the same kasi meron pa rin mga outlets for
Yeah.
that like other broadcasts. But at least in the realm of like formal broadcasts, yun siguro nawala. It evolved for the better, to be honest. Maganda naman talaga yung evolution ngayon ng shoutcasting. Minsan lang mamimiss mo yung mga ganong klaseng quote-unquote community casting na tinatawag namin doon.
Yeah. Na-imagine ko iba rin kasi yung enjoyment kasi parang you're just hanging out with your friends na pareho
Exactly.
kayo nag-e-enjoy nung game and nagkukwento kayo about it. So, syempre,
Oh,
iba yung enjoyment nyo talaga doon. So,
yeah.
let's move on to the next question. This one is from RJ Cambalon Mesa. Sabi
Mhm.
niya, can you give us a professional tip? What are the top 3 do's and don'ts in
Wow.
shoutcasting? Thank you.
Wow, okay. So, I'm yung pinaka top one na do siguro for shoutcasting is I always say this, to become a great shoutcaster, you have to be a great co-caster first. Ibig sabihin, kailangan um, nakikipagtrabaho ka ng malupit sa co-caster mo, hindi mo siya hini-hate, o kahit hate mo siya, at least makipagtrabaho ka ng malupit sa kanya. Hindi, joke lang. Don't hate your co-caster.
Di kayo sure, baka hate din ako ni Wolf,
Ay,
guys.
walang gano'n. Pero, di ba, in order for you to be good, you have to make others look good as well. Parang tulungan kayo kung paano nyo papapugiin o papagandahin yung isa't isa. Na kailangan ay nagre-respond ka, nakikinig ka sa kanya, you recognize or you um, ina-appreciate mo yung ginagawa niya at parang yun nga, nare-recognize mo yung ginagawa niya, yung sinasabi niya. And then, if you don't agree with your co-caster, hindi mo sasabing, ay, ano to, mali ka, hindi ganun. Pwede mong gawin para maging good co-caster ka. Isang technique na tinuturo ko din kapag may nagtatanong is, if you don't agree with your co-caster, sabihin mo, alam mo na mali yung sinabi niya, pero hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na mali kasi bawal ang isa sa mga rules sa shoutcasting guys ganito pag may co-caster ka, hindi mo pwedeng sabihing mali siya kasi nai-invalid buong career niya, maaalala ng mga tao na mali siya, parang ganun. Ganun yun. So, hindi mo pwedeng invalidate yung ibang tao. What you do now is to say na, that can happen, pero for me, ganito yung pwedeng scenario niyan. Parang ganun. So, you don't necessarily say the mali siya. So, there are other ways for you to do it. First do is to become a good co-caster. Siguro, second is show up sa mga call time because yung kunwari may ang call time mo ay 5 p.m. Merong ang broadcast nyo is 6 p.m. Yung 1 hour na yon, you do it to prepare yourself, prepare with your co-caster, kausapin mo siya, at also prepare yourself na talagang ready ka na for a shoutcast. Another third do is to um, actually have enough rest. Huwag mong patayin yung sarili mo. Use your time wisely na parang you spend, meron kang 1 hour to prepare for a tournament, for example. Anong gagawin mo? Maglalaro, may mga shoutcaster kasi na maglalaro na lang na parang, uy, sige, laro na lang, alam ko naman yung mangyayari. 'Di ba? For me, use that time to maybe watch a video, maybe browse ng mga groups ko ano ba yung pinag-uusapan ngayon sa community at pwede mo siyang gamitin sa shotcast mo. There's so many things that you can do with your time. So, be very productive in how you study. Siguro yun. What else? Mga don'ts siguro sa shoutcasting. Uh, don't don't be parang paano bang ano bang maganda term? Parang be humble na in a way na parang kailangan mo maintindihan na kahit sa tingin mo ay ikaw yung pinakatama at ikaw yung pinakamatalino sa room, you have to be humble enough to understand what the other casters are saying or what the viewers are saying or what the players are saying as well. So parang huwag ka masyadong mag-feeling God. Yun, siguro yun yung don't. Um, What else? Don't kill yourself. Have enough sleep, guys. Yun lang. Um, and yeah, I guess that's
Don't
those are the do's and don'ts na
don't forget to
nakikita ko.
subscribe to Wolf.
Puwede rin.
Ganon.
Yun ang malapit. Yeah, on the top of my head, yun yung siguro mga tips ko sa inyo, guys.
Ganda, ganda. Straightforward lang yung tips, very simple. Pero minsan kasi yung mga simpleng bagay, yan pa yung makakalimutan natin pag andyan na tayo, nadadala tayo. So ito, may final question tayo from our viewer. This one comes from Racel Claraval. How do you
Hey.
split your personal and professional work inside and outside broadcast now?
Wow. Racel, kilala natin 'to. Um, when I was, nung mas, younger pa ako na caster, naapektuhan talaga ako ng, yung shoutcasting ko naapektuhan talaga, whatever happens in my life, right? Kung irritable din ako sa broadcast. Kung masaya ako sa broadcast, nadadala ko yung energy din na yun. And, I think that it's really not healthy kasi may mga times na sobrang pangit nung mood mo tapos na-translate siya sa broadcast. Sobrang evident niya. Makikita talaga ng mga viewers yon. Nakikita rin ng mga co-casters mo yun. And you don't, most importantly, ng production, you don't want to be that kind of caster na malilabel ng mga organizers na parang andaling maapektuhan sa mga ganitong issues because unfortunately ang buhay ay napakahirap at problems will really come by no matter what. At when you least expect it, magkakaroon ng napakaraming problema dyan. So how do I separate my personal and professional work? I always make sure that the people around me are informed na lalo na kunwari may ka-relation ka, if you're in a relationship, you have to be very clear na when it's broadcast time, it's broadcast time. Di mo na ako kumbaga para na akong nawala sa earth noon. Iba na, oras ko na to, right? Ganyan. That's what happens. And also, what you can do para makatulong na yun talaga di ba? Ang daling sabihin na you're gonna separate yung mood mo or yung mentality mo kapag when you're on a broadcast or when you're outside of it, right? Ang daling sabihin nun. Pero what you can do para talagang totally ma-separate mo, there's a lot of things that you can do. You can like meditate whatsoever. Ako, personal na ginagawa ko is to listen to my music. It's called, conditioning eh. Condition mo yung utak mo na kapag nangyari na to, pag may trigger ka na ganito, iba na yung mundo, right? You forget everything else. To me, that is music. Some casters, what they do is to meditate. May mga casters din na nag-workout naman whatsoever. Some casters, nilalabanan na lang nila. Which is, kaya naman din. Pero like I said, can't be easily affected by that. So, what I do is to, yun nga, magkaroon ka ng way para i-condition yung utak mo na when there's this trigger, when you hear this kind of music, when you meditate, tapos na, it's showtime na, kumbaga.
Natutuwa ako kasi parang ganun din ako. Actually,
Yeah.
before tayo mag-start dito sa webinar na to, di ba may countdown tayo, tapos di naman tayo
Yeah.
nag-uusap kaya naghihintay lang tayo. Nagpapa-music na ako kanina eh. Parang hinahype ko na yung sarili ko na, okay, I'm gonna be hosting in a bit. And yun nga, music. Music is the tool for me. Siguro sa ibang tao, tayo nagkakarelatean tayo dito. Pero siguro sa ibang tao, parang ang weird naman nun. Pero it does make sense. May mga bagay sa paligid natin na, yun nga, pag na-condition ka na, ito yung routine mo,
Yes.
ma-adapt mo na. Kasi katulad sa akin, Kay, na parang hindi kasi ako nagkape today, so hindi ako ganun ka-energetic. Tapos nung napakinggan ko na yung music, okay, hype up na tayo, mag-host na tayo, let's go! Tapos yun nga, diba? I'm glad
Buti
you
pala
brought it
nakikinig
up.
ka sa music noon kasi nakalimutan ko mag-mute actually. So napapakanta ako dun sa mga So buti na lang pala nakikinig ka sa music mo nun.
Ayan, alam niyo na kung ano nangyayari behind the scenes sa mga production natin. Pero ayun, ang ganda ng mga shinare mo sa amin, Wolf. Unfortunately, limited lang yung oras natin. So, dyan na magtatapos yung Q&A natin. Sayang, ang dami pang magagandang questions and ang ganda-ganda ng mga sagot mo. Kaso, kulang tayo sa oras. So, salamat sa lahat ng nagpadala and nag-interact dito sa webinar natin. Pero bago ka namin pakawalan, Wolf, why don't you promote your upcoming projects o kaya naman yung mga socials?
Yeah, actually you can catch me sa lahat ng announcements ko na kung may shoutcast man na upcoming ay nasa Facebook page ko lang or sa Twitter, para silang Wolfcasts. I also have my Instagram and my YouTube na Wolfcasts din. So if ever na meron tayong bagong content, you can see that there. And abangan nyo syempre yung MPL, yung upcoming season ng MPL, which is actually matagal pa, sa August pa naman. So may matagal-tagal pa tayong hindi magkikita. And hopefully meron tayong mga projects in between, but for now that's the biggest project that I'll be working on in the immediate future.
Yay! So, ayan guys, narinig nyo na kung saan yung mahahagilap si Wolf in the upcoming future. Maraming maraming salamat, of course, for being our speaker, Wolf. I had so much fun.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for joining us and being this webinar series' fourth speaker. Bye-bye, Wolf!
Bye.
Guys, ang saya talaga ng bawat episode natin ng NGP. Kaso dito na nagtatapos tong specific episode na to for this series in Season 1, Episode 4. Maraming maraming salamat muli sa panonood. Grabe guys, every time na nagkakaroon tayo ng NGP webinar, tuwang-tuwa ako kasi ang dami ko natututunan sa speakers natin. And tuwang-tuwa ako kasi kayo rin, andito kayo joining me on this learning adventure. And of course, gusto ko rin pasalamatan yung mga sponsors natin kasi kung hindi naman dahil sa kanila, hindi to magiging posible. So maraming maraming salamat sa Smart 5G at sa Peso. Huwag niyo rin kalimutan i-like at mag-subscribe sa mga social media channels ng Peso. That's facebook.com/PhilEsports and of course, Philippine Esports Organization on YouTube. Dito na tayo ulit nagtatapos, guys. See you guys in the next webinar series. Ako po muli ang inyong host na si Laika Mea. You guys can follow me at xlikeable on all socials. And that is all. Thank you and have a good night.
Enter the Smart Giga Arena. Subscribe to Giga Games for tickets to join hundreds of matches. And get a chance to win real cash prizes.
Your training ground to greatness. Simple. Smart ako.
The arena trains you to be the best. Let's begin. Enter the Smart Giga Arena. Subscribe to Giga Games for tickets to join hundreds of matches. And get a chance to win real cash prizes.
Your training ground to greatness. Simple. Smart ako.
Draw your phones. Enter the Smart Giga Arena. Subscribe to Giga Games for tickets to join hundreds of matches. And get a chance to win real cash prizes.
Your training ground to greatness. Simple. Smart ako.
Let's begin.
Sir, yes, sir!
Enter the Smart Giga Arena. Subscribe to Giga Games for tickets to join hundreds of matches. And get a chance to win real cash prizes.
Your training ground to greatness. Simple. Smart ako.